In this video, we are going to talk about two configuration options for the Astro L4 handgun and how each changes the program settings for the melter. In this scenario, we will use the D215 melter. Let's take a look at the Astro L4 Handgun Manual number 196000110. On page 29, we will find an exploded diagram for the L4 handgun. The diagram shows all possible configurations for the L4 handgun. All the components may not be present in some L4 handguns. In this video, we will focus on the trigger switch. Let's look at the bill of materials on page 28 to find more information about the trigger switch. We will look for item number 37 to find the trigger part number and description. Here we can see that item 37 is part number 7329901. It's a switch plug assembly and is found only on switched guns. First, let's take a look at the switched gun. The L4 switched handgun has a connector on the bottom side of the handgun shell. This connector is wired to the trigger switch. The L4 switched gun is part number 754628899. It can only be used with a switched hose. The hose part number will vary depending on the hose length. For an 8-foot hose, the part number is 1014154 CG. For the switched handgun, we will connect the hose cord set directly to the melter and leave the melter programming at factory settings. Once all melter zones are up to temperature and the motor switch is toggled to the on position, the D215 motor will only turn on when the handgun trigger is pressed. Now let's look at the L4 unswitched handgun. The handgun part number is 1020528 CG. The hose part number will vary depending on hose length. For an 8-foot hose, the hose part number is 1014140 CG. The unswitched handgun does not have a trigger switch and therefore will not have a connector going from the hose to the gun shell as we saw in the switched handgun. To turn the motor on when we are using an unswitched handgun, we'll need to add cable assembly part number 7314045. This cable assembly is a jumper. It will jump the trigger leads so that the melter sees a closed circuit on the motor control wiring and allows the motor to turn on. Let's look at the Astro cable assembly instruction sheet to determine how to install it. The cable assembly is connected between the melter and the hose cord set. If the cable assembly is installed without changing the melter program settings, when the melter is turned on it will beep continuously and show a gun 1 trigger stuck alarm. To prevent the alarm, we will change the trigger program settings. To change the trigger settings, we will need to access the System Tasks menu. Press and release the program button, then press menu 8 times to reach the Perform Various System Tasks menu. Press Enter, then press the right arrow key 9 times until you reach Trigger 1 Safety Enable. The factory setting is on. Press Enter to change it to off and press Program to return to the main screen. Now the melter is ready to be used with an L4 unswitched gun, and the motor will run continuously when all zones are up to temperature and the motor switch is toggled to the on position. Contact your Chicago glue and machine representative to explore which handgun is better suited for your application needs.